Hey, how you guys doing? We're back. I thought about, you know what? I want to do a game rather than the linear. We're gonna do a Tarash variation, and this is a game between as Black, Burge, and Carson. And we'll just do white and black. So, but I just want to tell you who it is, and it was he won. So it's going to be a really good game, and I wanted to go over it with you guys. So let's just take a second, real quick, and check how everything's going. Good, everything's good. So let's start. E4, E6, D4, D5. This is the start of the French defense. That's the Tarash variation. And this pawn push, the reason you play knight f6 is to play knight d7. You're wanting to provoke him to basically say actually make his pawns fixed. I try to find a word, but I guess that's the best word. You want him to fix his pawns so that his pawns aren't mobile. Now they're stuck like this, and otherwise potentially they could have traded, and then it could have went into an exchange variation. But now that it's a Tarash variation, the idea is going to be the base pawn of d4. That these are now the pawns that you have to break. You got to be careful though. With the Tarash variation, there's f4, which is a really strong move later on that could potentially be played, and it's one of White's best responses. So, but just keep that in mind when you're playing the Tarash. You also have two breaks in the position. You have f6 and c5. These are the two areas that you can actually open up the position. So if you can get these two breaks in, and you break the center open and liberate the center, you're doing good. You have also a bad bishop. Remember, in the French in general, the light square bishop here is the bad bishop. So if you could trade off these bishops, you'll be good. So sometimes there may be a b6 and bishop to a6 sequence of moves to trade off the light squared bishop for the bad light squared bishop. Then you're left with a good bishop, and he's left with a bad bishop. It all depends on what route the Tarash variation goes down. In this Tarash variation, it's the closed Tarash. So it's kind of more of a positional play at this point. It's not really an attacker's opening. It's more of a positional. So that's why I just had to move that around a little bit so it fits the screen. Hey, how you doing? And so what we're gonna have to do is we're doing the Tarash closed, and so oops, 1 second. He goes bishop d3, which isn't really the best in this situation. It allows a huge attack. So what potentially should have been played was maybe I've seen a game. Let's see what's the game? Okay, sometimes they'll actually play that right away rather than the bishop move. But the bishop idea to d3 is to get the king castled. I've seen c3 potentially. So I've even seen knight to f3. Yeah, sometimes he'll actually go here and then there, and then what he'll do is reroute his knight here, and then he can always place it there. It's kind of weird. Depends on what needs to be played. But the bishop is a little early, a little too early. c3, there we go. Now he's going with the plan. c6, and black setting up the correct Tarash variation. These knights are very similar. You can actually trade. He could have traded at this point if he needed to. Here he could have actually done this and then brought his knight there. Yeah, it does depend on. You're right, because you sometimes want to weaken the this structure since the the knight has moved to d2. If it stayed there, and let's say they did the advanced variation, you do not want to take in the advanced variation. You do not want to take unless the knight moves here. You do not want to take, because that what will happen is he'll take back, and then he'll have a good outpost for the knight. But since this knight is on d2, and it's not really in its best square at the moment, it'll take actually two moves, one and two, to get to a good spot. You can actually take and then take advantage of these fixed pawns. So yeah, that's just an idea. Knight D. So he's following mainline plans, the knight move and castles. Perfect. That he got that that he got this in was stellar. This is a important break in the position. Because what'll happen is, excuse me with that, what'll happen is if he takes here, this knight will implant itself on f6, and man, will that be power. And that's actually what he played. Ooh, queen takes, interesting. But I guess I could see the reason you have a double attack, and it's going to be pretty. He's going to actually have to play there, which will make his pieces kind of muddled for a while. He's going to have to play f6, f3. That delays castling for white, which gives black the ability to go h6. h6 is an important move here, because now this knight protects the square g5, and this bishop can actually come sliding in, and so it attack the queen. So h6 prevents the two pieces from coming in. Also allows potentially the king could have another spot to go to if there was an attack. So that, and maybe a bishop, the dark square, light square bishop could potentially retreat back too if it comes out. So this move is pretty flexible. It only stitches. It does weaken the g6 pawn, so square. So you have to be very cautious when you're doing that. You got to be super cautious. So you would probably want to, in this situation. Wait a second. Why is this? Don't lag on me. Come on. Uh-oh. No. Okay. That's right. Okay. Whew. That was scary there. Thought it was going to lag on me. Okay. But you want to trade off these bishops. But the problem, if he gets two knights, that's a sweet outpost. Yeah, you could castle queenside. I'm not sure if, let me see, did he actually castle? No, he didn't actually castle in this one. I was looking at other games, and this one is pretty interesting one. He actually, well, I'm not going to spoil it. He white castles d6. This is stellar. This reminds me of a Ding Lauren game in the Chinese when he did an amazing. He sacked his queen and did all that stuff. You're gonna have to see how Burge does that. It's amazing. Bishop b1, g5. I'd probably say you're right if about castling. If he was to castle at this moment, I'd probably say queenside is the wisest decision in this sitch. Bishop e3. Knight is now rerouting, and potentially it could. Oops, not the. Well, it could go there, couldn't it? Because takes, and then takes, and then takes, then takes, and then yeah, something similar to that. Or let's see. Yeah, I guess it would have to be there, wouldn't it? Let's see. G6. So he's trying to maybe get a pawn push here. Maybe potentially e5 is an idea, but you have to remember that. Excuse me. The d5 pawn is not defended, so He's going to have to do maybe a move or two, something like this, to defend it. I don't know what his idea is. If he plays here, it does do a lot of trades, so he might actually play h4 and maybe slip into f5, and then if the bishop trades, you then could take, and now you can make a huge chain, and the bishop's also attacking. Yeah, you don't have to castle. You would want to, though, this bishop is one pawn push away from it's being opened up into excellent, so maybe that's what the idea of here is. And so when this trades, he can take on f6 and then push. Then now you have these two bishops that are slicing and dicing on the king. So f4, interesting. That's actually a really good move because it's taking advantage of the rook on the queen. Sometimes you can, if it's a close game, you can actually sometimes keep your king in the center. I've only done that a couple times in my games, but I usually castle either a queen side or a king side, and then after that you can always move your king that's here to b8 and then get it to a safe spot. And it also brings this rook in to the game. So the position for white is pretty muddled up. If you notice, his pieces aren't really coordinated. He does have a really good idea on if he takes here, this queen's going to have a sitch because of the bishop and all that. So interesting. I wonder why didn't he take here? That might have been, I think that might have been a better move. Because I don't think that that move when he played the knight was a good move. Because the knight, the queen's attacked by the rook. The queen's going to have to move. Then white can snap another pawn off and totally give him a problem. Well, let's see. Okay, sacks there. Oh, you're right. He could play that, can he? Ouch. That's not fun. Then he has to move back. And then now you have... Wow, that is a huge attack, isn't it? Snikes. Yeah, because you have here, and then if he moves there, you have a bishop a rook that can slide over. And then, yeah, he'll bring a ton of pain to that situation. Yeah, isn't that interesting how sometimes you have to take in, now this takes is possible because of, like what you're saying, the threat of the sacrifice doesn't work anymore on h2. The knight would take back at that point and there'd be no check. Well, there may be a check, but then the knight would jam itself there and there wouldn't be a sitch. So that was actually, he played really good there. See, I was studying tactics, and what you have to do is to find tactics, because it's fun to do puzzles, but how do you know if there's actually a tactic in the situation at hand? What you have to do is you divide the board up into sectors. Like if you're black, you want to infiltrate, of course, into the white side. And you can see like what pieces potentially can enter in to white's territory, and you can set up tactics by the entry points with different pieces, and it'll actually do tactics. Otherwise, what happens is even grandmasters have situations with their issue on finding tactics. Sometimes they miss them. You have to be on the lookout for like spots like this potentially like what you saw on H2, that was a tactic. It was infiltration into the king's position. Then with a pawn takes, and you have a lot of problems. So those are the type of tactics. Okay, he takes there. Ooh, do you see how white noticed a tactic as well? Potentially, if he had like a knight here, and that knight wasn't there, that would have been a tactic with a check and double attack. These are like ideas that you can look at. Now he can't castle, so, but I don't think it much bothered him that much. So it takes, knight takes, takes, and so yeah, this was a cool. I thought about that. I was like, that's stellar. Now he has a lot of minor pieces, so he's got to start using his minor pieces. Bishop e7, so he's trying to coordinate everything. Yeah. Remember, this knight is immune because of that idea there. He can't do that because he'd have to go there and then snap. So that's why he can leave his knight, this knight here. D3, rook to f8. Everything is starting to go against the king. Remember, don't be afraid to sack your queen if you can get enough minor materials. Bobby Fischer actually had a game that he did that. It was like his immortal game. He sacked a queen for I think it was a bishop and knight and rook, and he was able to beat, I forgot the gentleman's name, but he was able to beat the gentleman. I think he was like 12, if I'm not mistaken. Bobby Fischer was when he played that game, so that was incredible. I hope someday to have an immortal game like that too. Takes. And so now this is getting a little interesting, to say the least, because he has to stay off open files. He has to get his bishop and his rooks into the game, which is possible. E3, bishop E3, and he's now, this knight's protected. So if I was him, I'd develop there, and that's exactly what he does. And white doesn't really want to trade, because if he traded, material is starting to get off the board. The more that comes off the board like that, he'd be left with just a queen. And in that situation, black has a potential for maybe a win or maybe a draw, because he would have two bishops and a rook, which is enough material to handle a queen. Okay, let's get back there. All right. Now if this rook takes, the king would take, so that's a bad move. And if the bishop takes f4, the rook takes, and if that takes, there, still you're in a really good position. He takes there, pawn takes, bishop pin, and queen to g7, rook d5. Yeah, and he resigned here. There's really no way that white can survive here, because if he trades, this pawn will end up promoting. There's enough material that he can protect the king and get this pawn going. There's also actually he wouldn't want to take there. I apologize. That's a bad move. That's actually the winning move. And then you get mate. Sometimes you have to look deep into the position. That's what his opponent saw. And I think, let me see, what could he actually play after this? He'd probably have to play here, because he's going to have to stop this check. But now you have a really strong infiltration into the position. Yeah, And the infiltration now is rook to g2 check, and you win the queen. So the queen is going to have to move, and with that you can actually snap. And when the king moves, now you got a bishop that could go to c6. And let me see, is there anything that really he can do here? Let's see. No checks. So I'd probably say the game's done. It's over. It's over. I'm gonna turn on the engine to see what kind of the engine would do. I don't think there's any life in that position. I don't think there's anything that he can do. Let me see. Yeah, he's gonna have to play here. Then you take. And I don't really. He's probably gonna have to play there. Yeah, only way to save it. Then you play there, and then the king's gonna take, and game over. And then smack, and it's over. Turn off. And there's enough material here to hold the game. It's all about, the reason I liked that one was it was the master of excuse me, a masterful multi tactical of pieces. He used a lot of his pieces, so we can actually, don't be afraid of trading down for 3 pieces. Like even if you trade for 2 rooks for a queen, sometimes, I mean, if you get 2 rooks for a queen, that's what I mean. That's sometimes better in an endgame. So it's 10 pawns versus 9. So you're up some material. I've actually won a game with that. You can actually pin the queen with one of the rooks once they're doubled, and trade off, and then you'll have a rook. So the queen is not safe sometimes, even if they're facing 2 rooks. It's sometimes good to trade off if you can loosen the pressure on your game. So just a hint there. Okay, we'll do some puzzles now. I wanted to show you guys that game. Okay, let's see, what do we got here. We're still at 2004, so let's no, I'm sorry, 2100 04, 2001 04. Sorry, yeah. So let's see, what do we got here. That's the reason I like the Tarrasch variation and the advanced variation sometimes, is how much tactics there are there. No, we actually, that we ended on this last night. We got 9 pawns or points, and we stopped at 2,104. Yeah. So we're in this together. Let's see here. But that's the reason I like those type of openings for black, is there's a lot of tactics that could arise. Let's see here. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at E5 right now. Let's see here. Let's see, if we go E5, takes, take. Actually, he can't take at that point, can he? And so after here, let's say takes, we take. Let's say plays queen takes pawn, check. Let me go back to move 6 real quick. Kind of see what his idea is. Okay, so he's attacking the queen. So he does want to open this position. Yeah, that does that. Yeah, if we played here, so takes. So he can't take, can he? Yeah, he's gonna have to take here. Then we take. Then, like you're saying, queen takes. Knight comes there. Let's say he retreats back. We take with check. Ooh, I'm not sure. Let's go with it. Let's give it a shot. Huh. Sit here. Let's see, what do we got here? Okay, dokie. Let's see, do we have any power moves that we can play? See, if we take here, there's a check. We do not want that to happen. Let's see. Take your time. Let's take a look here. Just 1 second. Okay, we got a free bishop. I think that's the idea. The bishop, pawn takes bishop. Because that's the only thing that I can actually see that is good. Because even if he checks here, we can always just let me see. No, we have to retreat down. That is guarded. So if here, check down, there's no more checks that I can see. And the pawn, we've won a bishop. And we can always neutralize any of the infiltration points. Yeah. Oh my word, really? What in the world? It takes? You're kidding me, really? Oh. And then night infiltrates. My word. Ugh. We got the right takes. I needed to check the move sequence better on the king. Well, we'll get this time. We just gotta be more patient. Let's see here. Okay, these are combination attacks, so it's going to be a little more difficult since we're getting up there in the ratings. They're going to throw us some harder ones. Let's see if we play here. One sec, let me check. Yeah. We will get there. Okay, there. See, if we block with our rook, let's just analyze this real quick. We'll have a discover check. The bishop covers there, so here. With that, if he comes there, we can actually snap off the rook with check. So if here, we'll say here, check. He only has here. What do you think? I think it might be that. No, oh, wait a second. I apologize. We can't take with, we're going to have to take with the rook. My bad. No, if we do that, then we lose the bishop. Let's see, bishop takes rook. The only thing I see kind of that might not be good for us is he has a no, we could actually push them. Man, this is a different one for sure. Let's see if we take here. He's got a check there. Let's see. Check. Check. Interesting, yeah. Yeah, then we... Oh, that does cover everything, doesn't that? Let's give it... There we go. Yep. So there we go. There's one. We're starting on the spree again. I think if we play queen takes, bishop, pawn takes, takes, push, there's no way he can get back in time. That's covered by the, well, wait a second, that does, oh boy, that is not a wise decision, because there is a back rake made, isn't there? But if we play, yeah, if we play an attack right here, right now, yeah, but I'm thinking if we play, nope, that doesn't work, because then there's a check. Trying to see, let's go to 26 and see kind of what his idea is. What if we push the pawn right now? Hey, how you doing? Good. Let's see here. I think you might be right about the push. I believe that potentially is the idea, because then we have takes after that. Let's calculate before we do anything. We're not going to touch anything. We're just going to step back, analyze this properly. Okay, these two. That attacks the rook. So if rook moves over to d1 to stop the pawn, then we play bishop takes d6, pawn takes d6, and then rook takes the queen, and we have these two pieces for a rook left. Okay, that's one idea for him. Okay, if we push d2, and then number 2 line for white would be rook e2. At that point, we still take with the queen, because when pawn takes, rook takes from here, we actually queen with check. So that is the right move. You just have to stay calm and just calculate. Don't move too fast. I like what on searching for Bobby Fischer, when Bruce Pontefini, the person who played Bruce, said when Josh was at the board in the final board, he says to Josh, "Don't move till you see it. Don't move till you see it. Don't move till you see it." He says that like a couple of different times. I mean, back to back. And that's what we have to do when we look at tactics. We gotta don't move till we see the line all the way through, because we don't know how far they're going to want us to go, so we got to see it to the end. So let's see here. But that was a good find about pushing the pawn. That actually was the winning move, so good job. Let's see here. if we go a3 attacking the queen, that attacks, right? Trying to see what can he play, because that does a fork idea. But okay, here now we have to calculate if he plays rook to f4. Let's see, rook takes f4. I mean rook f4. Bishop takes queen. Rook takes. Pawn takes rook, pawn takes. I think we're up to a rook, 2 rooks for a knight and a rook. Okay, if here, let's say he plays here, we takes, and then bishop takes. That forks the two pieces there. Let's take a look. We'll go to 9. There. I want to see if my idea is correct. Oh, do you have that game that you want to go over? Do you have that you would like to go over that game? Okay, that sounds good. See this, the reason this idea, why he pushed, it is right, this move is right, because the only way that he'd be able to play here, guys, yeah, he wasn't feeling too well. So, I know how it is, kind of, if you're a little bit under the weather. You know, we need to, you know, keep him in our thoughts and prayers about if he has a cold or something, whatever is causing him to not feel good, that he feels better and plays up to his potential, because he's a world champion player, and he needs to feel better about whatever's going on. So the reason that's played is to actually play here. So this, come on, oh, please don't lag on me, please, please, please. No, it's okay. We can go over it if you'd like to go over it. You know, it's always good to. We just have to be respectful and understand that it wasn't Magnus Carlsen's best game. So we'll just take it as, you know, learning on. If there's tactics there, we'll use it for tactics. But we'll just consider it not, you know, one of his best, because, you know, we all have bad days. So, and even in his bad days, his games are still pretty high quality. Let's see. Okay, that's this right here. I believe is the idea for the takes. What do you guys think? Before we review the game, and I won't go on to the next one, but we'll finish up this tactic. I believe that's it. Oh my word. No. You gotta be joking me, really? Wait a second. Why was that not right? Drat, I should have checked that again. Why doesn't that, let me see, why, okay, if you take here, he takes, then you take, oh, he can't do that. Oh, I get why now. I see why now. Okay, because if we actually played takes, here, it doesn't work because when we take here and then he moves his rook, we can't take because then they'll take back. Okay, I got it. Snikes, I don't know why I didn't see that. Because this actually works now, because when he takes and we take back, there's no rook here to take this knight. So he has to move, then we win. Okay, yeah, rats. Okay. Let's see, how many moves was it? Not, it's only 40, so that's not too bad. Oh, and I'll turn off the notation so it's not disturbing. Okay, Magnus is white. Okay, let's see. Sometimes they play awkward lines, but they like the Sicilian sometimes. The majority of them like the Sicilian, so. Nakamura loves the dragon formation, so he plays that to like really good effect. Oh, you don't understand why people play, why more people don't play that? Oh, well, the reason is we'll just go back we'll go back real quick. This is more of a I'll just show you. There's more tactical lines with E4. It's more of an attack because it lets out two pieces. Even though it's the queen and the bishop, it develops two pieces faster. And then there's a lot of different games like the Russian game. And you can play the mainline Russian, and it's really tactical. And then I think, let me see if I remember the Scotch game. Let me see if let's see here. Okay, I think it's there. Let me see, how does this work? I'm trying to remember. I haven't done the Scotch game in a long time, so I believe it's actually knight there, then played. I apologize. I don't remember the Scotch game, but the Scotch game can be played. Yeah, the Petrov. It has two names. It's you can it has the Russian or the Petrov. I just remember it by the Russian one. But you're right. It is called the Petrov too. I don't really remember how. I think. Oh, I know what it is. Sorry. Black goes here, and then there we go. That's the Scotch. Okay, it's all coming back now. Then you take here, here, and there's a potential idea of a tactic. If somebody makes a mistake and plays there, this is a tactic that you can drop on them because it attacks the queen, and they'll have to take back, and then you win a piece. See, there's more tactical lines in the E4 variation and more attack, so that's why that's played. Okay, but I just wanted to share that with you guys. Why? The one that's really cool is the Grand Prix. That's a cool opening. But you have to know the lines really good. You have to know in the Grand Prix. You have to know the lines to the T. Let's see, E4. Not baddies. White's developed. Takes castles. White's actually developmentally ahead, and his position's better. He does have one issue though. Isolated pawns. So black is gonna more likely play around this. I'm just gonna draw a lot of arrows. This is gonna be what the game's based on here. If I was to say it, because I really don't remember all the game, but I remember that he had an isolated pawn, so just keep an eye on D4 pawn. See how all the pieces are starting to do their best to keep an eye on that. This d4 pawn cramps a lot, takes a lot of black's territory. It takes 2 spots away from him. The knight takes let's see, how many into his territory? 3. So there's these many spots that are being attacked by white, and then you can't forget these squares, and then there's that whole line that's being attacked as well. So white's really slicing and dicing. Black only has, let's see, 3 basically spots, and then he has 2, so he's got, these are his only attack points. Let's see, instead of castling, I would capture the knight because oh, okay. Oh, I see what you're saying. You're wanting to go for a check there. I see. Yeah, that's a potential idea. But the only problem is with that. Remember, white has a isolated pawn. In isolated pawns, the side with the isolated pawn doesn't want to trade down material, because the more material that comes off the board, it goes into an endgame, and this isolated pawn is a weakness in an endgame. So you want to, if you have an isolated pawn, you want to keep it in the middle game as long as you can, because this pawn, like what we talked about, takes a lot of space from black. So this would actually trade down, and it would allow a bishop to now be attacking that pawn twice, and it's only defended once. Wait a second. That is an interesting idea, because I'm surprised he didn't take. Let's see here. Why didn't he take here? Let me see here. Oh, I see why. Because if he took here, 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 and let's say he moved back, you have knight takes. Actually, he's up a whole pawn, so that is an odd reason there. I don't know why he didn't take there. He would have been up a whole. Huh. I do have to turn on the engine. I apologize. I have to see what the sitch was on that. I have to see that. Why didn't he? Hold on. How far back did we? Castles. Okay. I want to see why he didn't. Why this takes isn't a good idea. Oh, because of, oh, one second. So he takes. Interesting. Yeah, that's interesting, for sure. Okay, we'll turn off the computer now. It will go into the line that they played. I was just wondering why he didn't play that. That is still, he still has the potential for a takes, and that's very peculiar to say the least. Huh. Yeah, but the only sitch about taking is then he'd be up material. He'd be up a whole pawn. It would free up black's position, and but the only problem is like what you guys were saying. This rook is on the same file as. Yeah. There's a lot of a mess that could happen. That was an interesting move for sure, though. And White's trying to get some sacrifice in. I remember this. This is the idea here. Because if the rook didn't move, let's say that he played something like this, you have the queen that comes just sliding right in. You're threatening mate, you're threatening knight to come in. So there's a whole bunch of problem with that. So that's why he played his rook, so that this doesn't work because of that. That's the reason it doesn't work. They showed that line. So yeah, the queen has to get out from behind that. Nice. He's moving in. Now he's up a pawn. That was the combination that they said. Why did he do that? That was actually the kind of thing that they said. This was the inaccuracy that caused this to happen. So they were saying, what did they say? I want to turn on the engine and see what the best move was. Oh, that was the entry. Oh, here, okay. Wait a second. Was that? Oh, all the way over. And takes. And then now you have, see, he's up a whole, he's really doing good here. That's what they were saying. This move sequence would have put him up like 1.2 pawns. But that didn't happen. They wondered why he actually played this and didn't take, so that was actually what potentially was a kind of would have kept everything solidified a little bit. So, but you know what? We all have you know, things sometimes, so it's okay. That's actually, it looks like a good move. And then he resigned here. So, yeah, it had a lot of good combinations. It had something that we can learn from, which was the isolated king pawn. I mean, isolated d pawn, sorry, or queen pawn. And we got to see how, and we got to talk about how important it was. We are not focusing on the outcome of the game because the outcome is important, but the ideas during the middle game is what was really cool. So, thank you for the on move 24. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, can't he do a sack? Okay. Are you talking something like that, and then here? Yeah, potentially. Let's see if we'll see if the sack works. Let's see what can we continue with here. I am potentially seeing knight to e4, which gives him the. Then you now have you've got your material back a check. So let's see here. Trying to see what could he play. What could I'm trying to see what the best move in the situation is. Let me see. I don't think that's good because of there. And then if here. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm just trying my darndest because I try not to use the engine if I don't have to. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's total crushing. So I think the let's see, what does it say? Oh, wrong knight that goes in. Gotcha. So that's forced. Wow. So the bishop would have to retreat back, and then rook. Yeah, that's crushing. He's gonna have to cover this pawn here. Yeah, you remove the knight, and then bishop has to take. It's forced. Then you take, and then you have to take there. Knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, queen takes, knight takes, and then wow, that is crushing. So that's absolutely dominating. Wow. That was an interesting find. Good find there. Good find. That was totally an ultimately devastating blow, because let's just say these things get traded off. Let's say we get these pawns traded off. Magnus has an outside pass pawn. Let's just trade these guys off. We'll just trade them off. So let's see, how could we do that? Let's see there. Let's just say that they traded everything off. Okay, we'll just say they traded everything off, and that's probably a horrible move what we just played, but let's just say they did. And let's say that Magnus started. Let's just say Ivan started pushing. Magnus has first that move, and then let's say we'll just say he moves here, and we're just gonna say that Magnus doesn't move up. We're just going to say that he just stays here. This is what Magnus has. And we're just going to say, you know what? We're just going to say, you know what? We're not worried about this pawn at all. This is what he has. And this right here is the winner. Even just letting him go back and forth, back and forth, sorry, back, forth, back, and back, forth, he still wins with these two pawns against one. That one's going to become a queen. This king's going to have to rush over, and then you can gobble these pawns up. Yeah, so I just wanted to show you that end game is like in that type of situation when you have 2 versus 1 on this side, especially when it's outside and where the king is. I think even if the king, let's just say the king started running over here, you still have, if he takes, let's say here, he could take there, and look, you've got this guy, and there's no way of stopping this pawn pushing. So it's a easily won endgame for sure. One of the most straightforward ones. That was good. That was some good find. Good job. Hey, you know what? We're here to help each other out, and now we can. That's how we improve, by helping each other. Like, you guys help me with the tactics, our tactics, and some tactics I don't see and you guys do see, and we're able to score points on it. So we'll get back. Thank you for showing the game, and remember that, like what you guys said, it wasn't Magnus's best, but we can learn from it. So we can learn from any games. It was Jeremy Silman that said that you can take almost any level of play and learn something from the game. It could be a really, badly played maybe later on in the end game. You can learn something in the middle game. How did it get there? Or if it's badly played in the middle game, was it an opening issue? You can find out what not to do in the opening. So those are the small things you can take away. Alright, so a 19. Alright, let's see what we got here, guys. But thank you for the game, though. As well, I mean. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Let's see, what do we got here? Interesting. So the rook, which rook? This rook or that rook? It's trying to, let's see. Just hold on 1 second. I'm going to go back to 13 and then we'll decide. We'll look at the rooks. Oh, the H rook. Okay. Wait a second. Does the H rook cause anything? Like, if there's any infiltration point for the queen? I'm not sure if, so that might be a potential spot that the queen maybe can go to, if must be. So I'm not sure. That's a good idea. Let's see here. But I see what you're saying. If we move this rook, there's a pawn push. Interesting. C5? Huh. And passing. Yeah, there's in passe, so, and then if rook takes, takes, we do have a threat of check, don't we, here, though? Yeah, that is an interesting idea. Let's see if we played C. Not sure if C5 isn't not a bad idea, now that I think about that. Let's see here. Because if he takes there, we have rook takes knight. Huh. The only sitch though with that is he can actually take back with check on our king. It's a good idea, but the only sitch is he takes with check. But yeah, and then after we take let's see, okay there. Interesting. Let's see here. Okay, here, 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 here. See, the only thing I see about the rook move is that there is a knight. A knight takes here, but we do have that, don't we? Man, because we have this in between check idea. For some reason I'm not seeing it. Yeah, I do see your king a8. Um, the only sitch I see about that is he has knight to. But actually, there is no threat there, is there? I really, for some reason, I think that might be best. Yeah, I'm not. For some reason I think that. Let's just go back real quick and slowly go over this. Let's see there. Okay, he's trying to go after that pawn. Takes there. He takes. He takes. There's something about, boy, I don't, this is because if we moved here and he plays there, you have that check, which if rook takes, that's not right. Trying to see, could we actually move the queen somewhere? But then this is actually really a problem at that point then. 'Cause there's nothing to protect that. Dang, this is like super duper complicated. It might actually be a rook move now that I think about it. Because let's just say that we played rook h e1. We're just going to try that now. If he plays here, we do check, and or even better, you're right, if we play rook here, we have a undiscovered attack right there. So I think your rook idea is right. Let's see what the... Oh my word. You were right in passing. Wow, that's a really weird one. But you were right about the impassing. So that is a very weird one. That's strange. That's crazy. Yeah. Well, I gotta tell you, when you get to a certain level and play, that has to be, you kind of learn that. Yeah, it is awkward. Let's see here. Let's check here. If I'm not mistaken, I think it might be rook to h3. Or is it that first? Interesting. I think that, let's see here. Let's see there. If he plays there, if we take, we check. And so here, if he plays over, we play there. Is there any way of stopping checkmate? Yeah, I was thinking we have rook to h3 after that. And then this is covered, so okay, here, and if he comes over protecting that, we play here. If he plays here, we can actually take the rook. So he can't do that. So here, here, and okay, here, 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 and then if queen plays here, we checkmate. If we play rook to h3 first, he can play f5. Right, yeah, he could actually play there. Yeah, that kind of, this rook actually protects, the queen can't actually come there because we'd win it. I think you're right on that. Yeah, I think that's actually correct. And then now we play our let's see. Hold on. Do we play there at this moment? Let me see. I think yes, because then the queen intercepts, and then we take, and takes. Do we do as it h3 at this point? I'm trying to see. I think that's right. I think it is h3. Yeah, then we win the rook. Dang, 4 points. Well, if we get enough 4-pointers, we'll do one more, and we will get the rating back. We'll do one more, and we'll get our rating back tomorrow. So sometimes it's a diamond, sometimes it's a as they say, a stone. But you learn from every day. You get better. So let's see here. We got a 1900 to 2100. So let's see here. No, it's not a stone. But I always think of those things as learning lessons, so you have to be okay with, days that sometimes you don't get a lot. Let's see here. Let's sore throat there. Let's see. Okay. Queen. What was that? Well, I might just, we might just, I'll just play, I'll play, and then I don't really see anything, so we'll do one game and then we'll we'll go back to puzzles. We'll see how I do here. Let's see. Let's see, how do we want to play this? H5, C5. We'll have to check bishop C. We'll check that next time. When we pull up our puzzle, we'll do that. Do do. Bishop G5. I'll give that a shot. There. I don't want this I don't want the bishop infiltrating into my knight, so I want to hold on to my knight. Let's see here. I hate having to do that. Ah. speed up. Got to speed up here. Let's see here if I do this. Let's see it. Oh yeah, you did. I did. Ah, drat. Yeah. We'll call that a draw because it would have ended up checkmate, so I should have offered a draw. That's right, I missed that. Yeah. That was a good game. Well, I better log off for the night, guys. Thank you for the game, and that was good. And so, yes. And well, we're all improving, so I got to work on my time. So, but okay, with that, guys, yes. As Wesley So says from the Lord Jesus, and as I say, God bless, guys. I'll see you next time on Chess Cruncher TV. Have a great rest of the night, and remember, keep studying chess, keep moving forward, and only look back to improve. Bye bye, guys.